The first question says that oranges cost 220 rupees per kilogram. Work out the cost of 9 kgs of these oranges. So if 1 kg is for 220 rupees, 9 would be 220 times 9. 0 times 9 is 0. 9 times 2 is 18. Carry the 1. 9 times 2 is again 18. Plus 1, 19. So 1980 rupees. Question 2 says Aryan goes on a journey. He leaves home at 11:40 and arrives at 14:18. Find how many hours and minutes the journey took. So 11:40 to 12:40 is 1 hour. Then 12:40 to 1:40 is 2 hours. And then to 2, this is 1 hour, 1 hour. This is 20 minutes. And then to 2:18, that is 18 minutes. So that's 2 hours and 38 minutes. Question 3 says a quadrilateral has one line of symmetry. The diagonals of the quadrilateral cross at right angles. Write down the mathematical name of the quadrilateral. So the only quadrilateral whose diagonals cross at right angles that has one line of symmetry is a kite. A kite has only one line of symmetry, and the diagonals cross at 90 degrees. Question 4 says V equals to 4mp square. Find V when m equals to 10 and p equals to -3. So you just substitute the values in the formula. 4 times 10 times -3 squared. Now -3 squared is basically +9. When you square a negative integer, it becomes positive. So 4 times 10 is 40. 40 times 9 is 360. Then find the positive value of p when v equals to 3200 and m is 2. So 3200 equals to 4 times 2 times p squared. 4 times 2 is 8. 3200 divided by 8 equals to p squared, which is 400. To get rid of the square, we will square root both sides. And 400 is basically 20 times 20. So 20 square. So that's going to be 20 equals to p. Now it says positive value. The reason why it says positive value because when you square root a number, you get a positive and a negative value. So it's plus minus 20. But since they only asked for positive 20, so you just write p equals to 20. Question 5 says write these lengths in order of size, starting with the smallest. So if you look at the lengths, we have meters, we have centimeters, we have millimeters, and kilometers. So for us to compare these lengths, we need to convert them into one metric unit first, and then compare them. So first you decide which metric unit you want to convert them in. I'm going to pick millimeters. Why? Because that's the smallest measurement given over here, and it's easier to convert a bigger unit into a smaller unit rather than going from a smaller to a bigger. So we know 1 meter is 100 centimeters. 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. 1 kilometer is 1000 meters. So if 1 meter is 100 centimeters and 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, 1 meter will also equal to 1000 millimeters. And since 1 kilometer is 1000 meters, so we will do 1000 times 100 times 10, which is 1 million millimeters. So now we know that 1 meter is equals to 1000 millimeters and 1 kilometer equals to 1,000,000 millimeters. So 0.03 in millimeters is going to be 30 millimeters because we multiply this by 1000. 2.9 is going to be 29 millimeters because we times it by 10. And 32 millimeters already in millimeters, so we keep it as it is. For 0.00002 kilometers, we will times it by a million. So that's going to be 20 millimeter. So smallest now we can see is the kilometer. So 0.00002 kilometer. Remember, when you're writing the answer, once you have converted them into, say, metric unit and compared it, you always write your original value in the answer, not the converted ones. Then next biggest is 29 millimeters. That's 2.9 centimeters. Then we have the 0.03 meters. And lastly, 32 millimeters. So if you're someone who didn't know the conversions, you would have initially picked the 32 millimeters to be the smallest and the biggest would be your kilometers. Do not judge it based on the metric units. Convert them into the same metric units. You need to remember your metric conversions. This is very important. Otherwise, you won't be able to solve this question. Question 6 says, work out the area of the trapezium. So for this, you need to know the formula for the area of trapezium. Area of trapezium is basically 1/2 times the height times sum of parallel sides. So your parallel sides are 15 and 9. And your height is 8. Remember, we need the perpendicular height, not the slant height. If you choose the slant height, your answer will be incorrect. So 1/2 times 8 times 15 plus 9. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 15 plus 9 is going to be 24. 24 times 4 is going to be 96. That is your answer. Question 7 says, write down the inequality for x represented on the number line. So firstly, for this, you need to remember that whenever the circle it's shaded, that means the value at that point is included in the inequality. And when the circle is unshaded, that value is not included in the inequality. So over here, x is between -3 and 4. So since the circle at 4 is shaded, that means it's less than equal to 4, but greater than -3. -3 is not included in this range once again, but 4 is, because the circle at 4 is shaded. Question 8 says, Priyanka plays a game in which she can win, lose, or draw. The table shows the probability of her winning or losing a game. So we know that the probability of winning is 0.3 and for losing is 0.25. Complete the table. So the probability of an entire event happening, in this case, she playing this game. So in this game, she can either win, lose, or draw. So the probability of win, losing, and draw always adds up to 1. So to find the probability of draw, we will do 1 minus 0.3 minus 0.25, which will give us 0.45. That is the probability of him getting a draw, her getting a draw. Priyanka plays this game 120 times. Work out the expected number of games she wins. So, easy question. You just have to multiply the probability of her winning with the number of times she's playing the game. So that's 120 times 0.3. So for 120 times 0.3, there are two ways of doing it. Either you can do the column multiplication, where you do 3 times 0 is 0, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 ones are 3, placeholder 0, 0, 0. add it up. So that's 0, 6, 3, and the decimal comes over here, so 36. Another way is we do 120 times 0.3. Now 0.3 can be rewritten as 3 over 10. 120 is basically 12 times 10. So if we divide 12 times 10 by 10, that's 12. So then we left with 12 times 3, which is also 36. So either way, you're getting the same answer. Question 9 says, by writing each number correct to one significant figure, work out an estimate for D. So 1.95 correct to one significant figure is going to be 2. 9.92 squared is going to be 10 squared. And 8.07 is going to be 8. So 2 times 100 over 8. 2 ones are 2. 2 fours are 8. 4 ones are 4. And 4 times 25 is 100. So D is equal to square root of 25, which is 5. That's your answer. Question 10 says three regular polygons A, B, and C meet at a point. The interior angles of the polygons are in the ratio A is to B is to C, which is 3 is to 4 is to 5. Show that the polygon C has twice the number of sides as polygon B. So over here we can see that the angles, they're meeting at a point. And when we would add these angles, they would equal to 360. So let's first find the measurements of the angles. So for angle A, that would be 3 over 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is basically 12. Remember, when we're dealing with ratios and we're trying to find the value for something, first you create the fraction for the ratio and for the quantity that we're talking about. For angle A, the fraction will have 3 in the numerator because that's the value that's representing A in the ratio, and the denominator is going to be the sum of all of values in the ratio. So 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is 12. Now we'll multiply this fraction by 360 because all of the angles are adding up to 360 at this point. So 3 ones are 3, 3 fours are 12, 4 ones are 4, and 4 times 90 is 360. So 90 degrees is for A. Angle B is going to be 4 over 12 times 360. So this is 4 ones are 4, this is 3, 3 ones are 3, and this is 120. So that's 120 degrees for B. And for C, you can just do 360 minus 120 minus 90, and that gives us 150 degrees. These are angle values. Now it says that show that polygon C has twice the number of sides as polygon B. This is a regular polygon. In the regular polygon, your number of sides are the same. In a regular polygon, your polygon has the same lengths for the sides, and the interior angles are also the same. So if this has an interior angle of 150, what we can do is we can use the interior angle formula to find the number of sides for polygon C and for polygon B. Okay, so interior angle is n minus 2 times 180 over n. So for polygon C, 150 equals to n minus 2 times 180 over n. Cross multiply. 150n equals to, expand the bracket, 180n minus 360 move 360 to the other side and bring 150n to the right-hand side. So that's 360 equals to 30n. 360 divided by 30, and that's going to give us 12 as the number of sides for polygon C. Now for polygon B, I'm going to repeat the same steps. So I'm going to erase this part over here. Interior angle would be again n minus 2 times 180 over n. 120 equals to n minus 2 times 180 over n. 120n equals to 180n minus 360. Swap 360 and 120n. So that's going to be 360 equals to 60n, and 360 divided by 60 gives us 6. So we can clearly see that the number of sides for C is twice the number of sides for B, because this has 6 sides and this has 12 sides. So as we can see, the number of sides for polygon B is half the number of sides for polygon C. So that's what the question was asking us to prove, that polygon C would have twice the number of sides as the polygon B, and that's your answer. Question 11 says the company sells items either on a website or in shops. The composite bar chart shows the percentage of sales on the website and in shops for January and February and March. In April, 17/20 of the company's sales were on the website. On the grid, draw the bar for April. So in April, 7/20 of the company's sales were on the website. So that means 17 over 20 times 100, because the y-axis is the percentage of sales. So now that's going to be So now to multiply a fraction with the whole number, what we can do is we can multiply 17 with 100, which is 1700 over 20. Now when you're dividing the numbers, you can always cancel the 0 out as long as it's a leading 0. You can only cancel 1 0 at a time. Then 170 divided by 2 is basically going to be 170 divided by 2 is basically 2 8s are 16 minus 1, bring the 0 down, 2 5s are 10. So that's 85%. Now 85% is for the website. So for shops, it's going to be 100 minus 85, which means 15% of the sales in April are from the shops. So what we do is we draw the complete bar. Then at 85, we make the separation between sales and website. And over here, we can shade this part because this is for the website. And the top white part is for the sales from the shop. Then it says in February, the company had sales of $3.5 million. Work out the value of sales in shops in February. So in Feb, So in Feb, there were $3.5 million sales. So for shops, which is the white part above, so we're starting from 60 and ending at 100. So 40% is on shops for Feb. So 40 over 100 times 3.5 times 10 to the power of 6, 0, 0, 1, 0. This becomes a 5. So 3.5 times 4 is 0 again, 2. 3 4s are 12 plus 2, 14. So 14 times 10 to the power of 5. Is basically 1.4 million. That is how much he made for sales in shops in Feb. Part C, in May, the company had sales of $6 million. In June, the company had sales of $7.5 million. Find the percentage increase in sales from May to June. So percentage increase has the formula of new value minus the old value divided by the old value times 100. So new value is 7.5 million. I'm not going to write the millions because the millions will get cancelled out. Minus 6 over 6 times 100. Now 7.5 minus 6 is 1.5. 1.5 times 100 over 6 is basically 150 over 6. So that's 52 if we divide these by 3. And this is 25. So 25% is the percentage increase in sales from May to June. Remember, when you're solving these questions, the main thing you need to know is how to simplify a fraction. And to simplify a fraction, remember your times table. Part D, in 2024, the company had total sales of $52 million. This was an increase of 30% on the total sales for 2023. Work out the total sales in 2023. So if 52 million is an increase of 30% on the sales of 2023, that means 52 million represents 130% of sales in 2023. Once again, the 2024 sales shows a 30% increase. That means of the 100% in 2023, we're adding a 30%. So this equals to 130% of the sales in 2023. So once again, cancel out the 0. Now we have 13 over 10. Let's cross multiply 52 million times 10 divided by 13 equals to the sales in 2023. So since they want the answer in millions, so the 6 zeros remain as it is. 52 divided by 13 is going to be 4 because 13 times 4 equals to 52. So 13 ones are 13. This becomes 4. 4 times 10 is 40. So 40 million is your answer. Question 12 says, write as a single fraction in simplest form x over 4 plus 3x over 8 minus x plus 2 over 12. So when we're adding or subtracting, fractions with unlike denominators, we need to make the denominators equal first. So what is the lowest common multiple that all three share? All 4, 8, and 12 share the number 24. We know 2 times 12 is 24. We know 8 times 3 is 24. And we know 4 times 6 is 24. That means we can convert the denominator into 24 by multiplying the first fraction by 6. Remember, both the numerators and denominators get multiplied by the number, not just the denominator. 3x over 8 gets multiplied by 3, and x plus 2 over 12 gets multiplied by 2. So 6 times x is 6x, 6 times 4 is 24, plus 3 times 3x is 9x, 3 times 8 is 24. 2 times x plus 2 is going to be 2x plus 4. We multiply 2 with x and with plus 2, and then 2 times 12 is 24. Now, since the denominators are same, we can combine the numerator, write this as a single fraction, 6x plus 9x plus 2x plus 4. Collect the like terms. 6x plus 9x is 15x. 15x plus 2x is 17x. Plus 4 comes as it is, divided by 24. This is your answer as a single fraction in its simplest form. Then it says factorize 3x times a plus 4y minus ay minus 4y squared. So we can see that in 3x times a plus 4y, they've already factorized it because they took 3x common from a and 4y. Between ay and 4y squared, we have y common. So 3x times a plus 4y, then we take minus y common over here. So that's a plus 4y over here as well. Now both 3x and negative y share a plus 4y as a common term. So we can take that common from both 3x and negative y, and that leaves us with 3x minus y in the second bracket. So this is your fully factorized answer. Thirteen says a diagram shows a cylinder with radius r centimeters and height 16 centimeters. A sphere has radius 3 centimeters. The volume of the cylinder is equal to the volume of the sphere. Find the value of r. So if they both share the same volume, we can first begin with finding the volume of the sphere because they already gave us the radius. So volume of sphere would be 4 over 3 pi r cube, r being 3. 3 cube is 27. 27 divided by 3 is 9. So 4 times pi times 9, which is 36 pi. I'm going to keep the pi as it is right now. Why? Because even the volume of the cylinder has a pi in it. So maybe we can cancel it out later. So let's just keep it as 36 pi right now. Volume of cylinder pi r square h. So since they share the same volume, 36 pi equals to pi times r square times 16. Let's divide the 36 pi with 16 pi. So we know 36 and 16 both come in the 4 times table. This becomes 9, this becomes 4. And like I said, keep the pi because we can easily cancel out the pi over here. If we had multiplied 36 with 3.142 or 22 over 7, that would have just made your calculation more lengthy and time consuming. So just keep it in terms of pi and simplify it later. So now we have 9 over 4 equals to r squared. Square root both sides to get the value of r. And we can easily see that r equals to 3 over 2. You can write this as a decimal, which would be 1.5 centimeter, or leave it as it is. Question 14 says A, B, C, D, and E lie on a circle. FG is a tangent to the circle at C. Angle BAD is 110 degrees, and angle ADB is 20 degrees, and angle BEC is 45 degrees. Find angle BCD. BCD is this one. So if you notice, A, B, C, D is a cyclic quadrilateral. A cyclic quadrilateral is that quadrilateral where all the vertices of the quadrilateral touch the circumference. So all the vertices are touching the circumference. So in a cyclic quadrilateral, opposite angles add up to 180. Angle A is opposite to angle C, which means BCD would be 180 minus 110, which is 70 degrees. That's your answer for this. So 70 degrees because opposite angles in a cyclic quadrilateral add up to 180 degrees. Then it says find angle DBC. DBC is this one. So we know that angles coming out of the same chord are equal, which means the same chord over here being BC. So that means this is also 45. This we already found to be 70. So if we subtract 70 and 45 from 180, that gives us third angle. Why? Because sum of angles in a triangle add up to 180. And BDC is making a triangle. So we'll do 180 minus 70 minus 45, which is 180 minus 115, and that's going to be 65 degrees. Then it says find the angle DCG. So wait, this was 65. This is 45. This is 70. So DCG. So they're asking for this angle now. We highlight this triangle now. When we highlight this triangle, we can see that the alternate segment theorem can be applied over here. In the alternate segment theorem, whatever angle is over here, that comes over here, and this one comes over here. As you can see, when we add all these three angles, that gives us 180. And angles on a straight line also add up to 180, which means 45 plus 70 plus 65 would give us 180 as well. Hence, angle DCG will also be 65. So for these type of questions, you need to know your circle theorems very well. You need to be able to highlight the shape that they're talking about, visualize which circle theorem would apply over here, and then you can easily answer your question. So that's going to be 65 degrees. Apply alternate segment theorem. Question 15 says point A has coordinates -4, 1. Vector B is -5, 12. Find the coordinates of B. So BA is basically OA minus OB. So since we're trying to find the value of OB, which is the coordinates of B, we can swap OB with BA. So that's OA minus BA. So OA is -4 and 1. I'm just rewriting the coordinates as a vector. And BA is -5 and -12. So -4 minus -5 and 1 minus 12. So that's negative minus times minus is positive, so negative 4 plus 5 is 1, and 1 minus 12 is negative 11. So 1, negative 11 are the coordinates of B. Then it says point C has coordinates 5, negative 2. Find the vector CA. So CA is going to be OA minus OC. OA is negative 4, 1. OC is 5, negative 2. As you can see, we're just rewriting the coordinates in vector form. So coordinates in vector form is the vector from the origin to that point. So negative 4 minus 5 and 1 minus 2, that's negative 9 and negative 1. That is our vector. Then it says EF equals to 3 times BA. Find EF. So BA was negative 5 and negative 12. So EF is 3 times of negative 5, negative 12. We multiply 3 with both negative 5 and negative 12. So that's negative 15 and negative 36. Now they want the magnitude of vector EF. So magnitude of vector EF is going to be square root of negative 15 squared plus 36 squared. So 15 squared is going to be 15 times 15, which is 5, 2, 5 times 1, 5 plus 2, 7, placeholder, 5 and 1. So that's 225. And 36 squared is going to be 36 times 36. So that's 36. 6 times 3 is 18 plus 3, 21. Placeholder, 18, 1, 9 plus 1, 10. 6, 9, 2, 1 plus 1296. Now we add them up. So plus 225. That's 11, 12, 5, 1. Square root of 1521. Now to find the square root of 1521, we can prime factorize it. So to prime factorize this, we can see that this is divisible by 3. Because when you divide 1521 by 3, it's going to be 507. 507 will again be divisible by 3 because when we add the digits for the number 507, 5 plus 7 gives us 12. And 12 is divisible by 3. So if you remember the divisibility rule by 3, if the sum of all of the numbers in the given number add up to a multiple of 3, that means the entire number comes in the 3 times table. So if I do this separately over here, 1521 breaks down to 507 and 3. This breaks down to 169. Then 169 is going to be 169 is basically square of 13. So we know 13 is a prime number, so we can't further break it down. So as you can see, 1521 can be rewritten as 13 square times 3 square. These are the final prime factors that we're getting for 1521. Square root of 13 square is going to be 13 and square root of 3 square is going to be 3. So 13 times 3 is 39. That is your answer. So for this, you need to be familiar with your basic square and cube numbers because this is the most calculation that they have given so far in the question paper. Otherwise, they've been quite simple calculations, simple mental maths. You don't need to memorize a lot of stuff so far. This was the biggest number that they had given to prime factorize. Question 16 says the stem and leaf diagram shows the mass of each of 13 packets. Work out the interquartile range. So for the interquartile range, we need the lower quartile and the upper quartile. So interquartile is the difference between the lower and upper quartile. There are 13 packets. So first, let's find the midpoint. Midpoint is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our midpoint. 43 is our median value. Why? Because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values after 43 and 6 values before 43. So this 43 is right in the middle of the data set. So now lower quartile is going to be the middle value of the first value and the median value. So that's going to be 40. That's the lower quartile. And upper quartile is going to be the middle value of the median and the last value. So that is going to be 51. So now for the interquartile range, we will do 51 minus 40, and that's going to be 11. Then two of these packets are chosen at random. Find the probability that one packet has a mass of more than 50 grams and the other packet has a mass of less than 50 grams. So more than 50 grams is basically these, and less than 50 grams is all of these. So as you can see, there are 4 packets which are more than 50 and there are 9 packets that are less than 50. So since we know that 4 packets are greater than 50 and 9 packets are less than 50. If he's choosing a packet that's greater than 50 first, so 4 over 13 times, next he's picking the packet that's less than 50, so that's going to be 9 over 12. The reason why it's 9 over 12 is because he's chosen one packet already, so now there's one less packet in the total number of packets. Then, second option is that he picks less than 50 first. That's 9 over 13 times, then 4 over 12. Now, since he's already chosen a packet that's less than 50, so from the total number of packets, there's one less packet now. So the probability of choosing a packet that's more than 50 is now 4 over 12. Now remember, when we are multiplying fractions, we can simplify the fractions vertically and diagonally. Over here, we know 4 and 12 come in the same times table. So 4 ones are 4, 4 threes are 12. Then 9 and 3 come in the same times table. 3 ones are 3, 3 threes are 9. So that's 3 over 13. And same would happen over here because literally the same fraction being multiplied. So that's 3 over 13. That's going to be 6 over 13. That is your probability. Question 17 says work out 5 over 9 plus 0.28 recurring, giving your answer fraction in simplest form. Now for recurring decimals, this is the type of question that mostly comes in the GCSEs and IGCSEs for the Excel one. So for this, what you would do is you first need to identify what 0.28 recurring is. 0.28 recurring is basically 0.2888. Basically, 8 is repeating infinitely. We assume that x equals to 0.28 recurring. That is the first step. Next step is that since we're trying to convert this into a fraction, we need to basically get rid of the decimal. So I first say that I'm going to multiply x with 10. So 10x is going to give me 2.8 recurring. Now, since the goal is to get rid of the decimal, and to get rid of the decimal, we need to get rid of the numbers after decimal as well. So if we multiply x with 100 as well, so 100x is going to be 28.8 recurring now. So as you can see, for 10x and 100x, we can see that the number after decimal is exactly the same, which is 8 recurring. So if we do 100x minus 10x, that would be the same as 28.8 recurring minus 2.8 recurring. So 100x minus 10x is 90x. 28.8 recurring minus 2.8 recurring is 26. X would be 26 over 90, which we can simplify to 13 over 45. Now, the question was asking us to work out 5 over 9 plus 0.28 recurring. So 5 over 9 plus 0.28 recurring is the same as 5 over 9 plus 13 over 45. Now, whenever we're adding fractions with unlike denominators, we first need to make the denominators equal. We can turn 9 into 45 by multiplying the first fraction by 5. That's going to be 25 over 45 plus 13 over 45. We can add the numerators now. 25 plus 13 is going to be 38 over 45. This is your answer as a fraction in its simplest form. We cannot further simplify this because 38 and 45 do not come in the same times table. Question 18 says the quadrilateral ACDE is formed by two right angle triangles ABE and BCD. AC is 17 centimeters, AE is 18 centimeters, and BD is 6 centimeters. Show that CD is 10. So to find CD, what we need to do is we need to find AB first. Because if we have AB, we can subtract that from 17 to find what BC is. So if you notice, the triangle AEB is a right angle triangle. This is 90, this is 60, so this would be 30. Because 180 minus 90 minus 60 is 30. Now, if you remember the special triangles, one of the special triangle has the angle ratio of 30, 60, 90. So whatever the length of 30 is, twice that is your length opposite to 90 degrees. So we already know the length that is opposite to 90 degrees, which is 18, which means the length opposite to 30 degrees would be half of 18, which is going to be 9 centimeters. So if we subtract 17 and 9, that would give us 8 centimeters. So this is 8. Now to find CD, we can use Pythagoras because once again it's a right angle triangle and we're trying to find the third length. CD square would equal to 6 square plus 8 square. 6 square is 36, 8 square is 64. 36 plus 64 is 100. Square root both sides to find the value of CD. 100 is a square number because 10 times 10 is 100. So square root of 100 is 10. And this is what they were asking us to prove. So remember, in right angle triangles, you're either going to use SOHCAHTOA if the angles are given, or if the angles are not given and the lengths are given, and they're asking us to find a missing length, you'll use Pythagoras. And for this, you need to remember your special triangles as well. The 45, 45, 91, and the 30, 60, 91. Those two are very important. Then it says find the perimeter of the quadrilateral ACDE. Give the answer in the form of P plus K root Q. So quadrilateral ACDE. Highlight this. A C D E. So this is the quadrilateral that we have. And we need to find its perimeter. So we have this as 18. This is 17. We found this as 10. So what we need to find is the length of ED. So to find the length of ED, we can use SOHCAHTOA. So we know that over here we have our hypotenuse. We have to find our opposite. Opposite is the length that is opposite to the angle. So that is EB. EB is 6 plus ED. So let's keep it as EB first. So we'll use sine because we need to find the opposite and hypotenuse of the angle are given. So sine of 60 equals to EB over 18. 18 times sine 60 equals to EB. Now this is where you need to remember your trig values. So what is sine 60? So sine 60 is basically equal to root 3 over 2. So as you would know that for the non-calculator paper now, which is paper 2, they have introduced the trig values in questions. So for this, you need to remember what your trig values are. Trig values for sine 30, 60, 45, for cos 30, 60, 45, and for tan 30, 60, and for tan 30, 60, 45. If you're someone who doesn't know how to figure it out, I'm attaching the link above for the trig value short that I created, in which it gives all the trig values for each angle and the trig with which you can memorize all of the values without any difficulty. So going back to the question, sine 60 was root 3 over 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9. So 9 root 3 is your EB. So ED would be 9 root 3 minus 6 because 6 is dB. Now if you find the perimeter is going to be 18 plus 17 plus 10 plus 9 root 3 minus 6. So 18 plus 17 is going to be 35. 35 plus 10 is 45. 45 minus 6 plus 9 root 3. 45 minus 6 is 39. So 39 plus 9 root 3 is your perimeter. So once again, remember you need to know your trig values for this. Otherwise, you won't be able to completely solve this question. Question 19 says in the Venn diagram, shade the region A union B union C complement. So when you see the U sign, that means union. And when it is upside down, that is intersection. So A union B, firstly, union C is all of this. And complement would mean everything that is outside these. So that's basically everything that is outside the three sets. That's the shaded part. Let's just simplify root 300 plus root 48. So once again, we have to prime factorize these. 300 is basically 3 times 10 times 10. And 48 is 8 times 6, which is 4 times 2, and that's 3 times 2. So rewrite 300 as 3 times 10 square and 48 as 4 times 2 square times 3. So 10 square is 100, square root of 100 is 10. So 10 comes outside, 3 is inside. Square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 2 square, once again 2. So the two 2's are outside and 3 is inside. So now we have 10 root 3 plus 4 root 3, which is 14 root 3. You cannot further simplify this surd because the number inside the root is a prime number and you can't further break it down. Part B says rationalize the denominator and simplify. So in this, we're going to multiply the fraction by the conjugate of the denominator. So conjugate of 2 plus root 7 is going to be 2 minus root 7. It's the same surd but with the opposite sign in the middle. So 2 minus root 7 over 2 minus root 7. multiply 9 with 2 minus root 7. And the denominator, I'm just going to write these two as two brackets being multiplied. Now, the reason why I'm leaving it as two brackets being multiplied in the denominator is because this reminds me of the difference of perfect square, which is a square minus b square equals to a minus b times a plus b, which means we can rewrite the denominator as 2 square minus root 7 squared, and the numerator, we expand the brackets, so that's 18 minus 9 root 7. So 18 minus 9 root 7 over here. 2 squared is 4. Square root of 7 being squared is basically 7. It's 4 minus 7. So 18 minus 9 root 7 divided by negative 3. We can divide 18 by negative 3 and 9 by negative 3. So that's negative 6 plus 3 root 7. That's your answer. So remember, when you're rationalizing a denominator and the surd in the denominator is like something plus the surd, you always multiply and divide the fraction by the conjugate of that denominator. And then once you have multiplied the fraction by that, then the denominator always follows the difference of perfect square rule. Always. That's like a given thing. So if you remember your difference of perfect squares and you have to apply that in the denominator, you can easily simplify your denominator and get rid of the surd from the denominator, which is basically what we are trying to do from rationalizing the denominator. Numerator is just simple expansion, collecting the like terms. Remember that surds can only be added to those surds which have the same number inside the root sign. You cannot add root 2 and root 7. They don't have the same number. So if the number inside the surd is the same, you can add or subtract them. Multiplication is possible with different surds, but not addition subtraction. And once you simplify it, you get negative 6 plus 3 root 7. Question 21 says that write down the coordinates of the point when the graph of y equals to 5x minus 3 crosses the y-axis. So it crosses the y-axis, that means x is going to be 0 because y-intercept is when x is 0. So 5 times 0 minus 3, which is negative 3. So 0, negative 3. Then it says A is the point 1,7 and B is the point 5,15. Find the equation of the perpendicular bisector of the line AB, giving the answer in the form of y equals to mx plus c. So for the perpendicular bisector, first what you need is the midpoint of AB. Then what you need is the gradient of the line that is perpendicular to AB. So first, let's begin with the midpoint. Midpoint of AB is going to be 1 plus 5 over 2, comma 7 plus 15 over 2. You add the x values and take its average. You add the y values and take its average. So that's going to be 6 over 2, 3. 7 plus 15 is 22. 22 divided by 2 is 11. This is the midpoint. Now we find gradient of AB. Gradient of AB is going to be 15 minus 7 over 5 minus 1, which is the same as y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 15 minus 7 is going to be 8. And 5 minus 1 is 4. And 8 divided by 4 is 2. So gradient of AB is 2. Next thing you need to know is that when you're dealing with perpendicular lines, this is AB. And this is the perpendicular bisector. So two perpendicular lines. So we can identify two perpendicular lines if the product of the gradients is equal to -1, which means m of AB times m2, which will be the gradient of this line, equals to -1. So this way I can find the value of m2. So that's going to be 2 times m2 equals to -1. m2 equals to -1 over 2. This is our gradient of the perpendicular bisector. We have a point, we have a gradient, so we can easily use point slope form, which is y minus y1 equals to m times x minus x1. Point slope form is used when you have a point and a slope. So we replace y1 with 11, m with negative 1 over 2, and x1 with 3. Cross multiply 2 times y minus 11 equals to, expand the bracket, negative x plus 3. So that's 2y minus 22 equals to negative x plus 3. 2y equals to negative x plus 3 plus 22, which is negative x plus 25. They want the equation y equals to mx plus c form, which means y needs to be the subject. So y equals to negative x over 2 plus 25 over 2. This is your equation in y equals to mx plus c form. Question 22 says a curve has equation y equals to x cubed plus x squared minus x. The curve has a stationary point at 1 over 3 minus 5 over 27. Find the coordinates of the other stationary point. So stationary points are usually found by finding the derivative of the curve and then putting that derivative equal to 0. So if you find dy by dx of y equals to x cubed plus x squared minus x, that's going to be 3x squared plus 2x minus 1. How did I find the derivative now? So to find the derivative, what you do is you bring the power down in the original equation and then subtract 1 from the original power. So as you can see, x cubed becomes 3 times x squared. I brought the power down, subtracted 1 from the power. So 3 minus 1 is 2. Similarly, x squared would be 2 times x to the power of 2 minus 1, which is 1. And x has a power of 1. So that power comes down. And when you subtract 1 from 1, that gives us 0. So x to the power of 0 is 1. So we get a 1 over here. Now they're saying one stationary point is this, find the other one. Put the dy by dx equal to 0. Now we factorize this quadratic equation. So to factorize this quadratic equation, we can do 3x squared plus 3x minus x minus 1. So 0 equals to 3x is common, x plus 1 minus 1 is common, x plus 1. X plus 1 is common between 3x and negative 1. So one value of x is negative 1 and the other is 1 over 3. 1 over 3 is already covered, so this is what we're focusing on. Now we'll substitute this back into the original equation to find the corresponding y value. So at x equals to negative 1, y is negative 1 cubed plus negative 1 squared minus negative 1. Negative 1 plus 1 plus 1, and that is going to be 1. So other stationary point is negative 1 and 1. That's your answer. Then it says by sketching the graph of y equals to x cubed plus x squared minus x, determine whether the stationary point 1 over 3, negative 5 over 27 is a maximum or a minimum. So the other point was negative 1 and 1. So negative 1 and 1 is going to come over here. 1 over 3, negative 5 over 27 is going to come over here. And if you notice, for the x and y intercept, when you put at x equals to 0 for the original graph, y would also equal to 0. Because 0 cubed plus 0 squared minus 0 is 0. So this is one of the intercepts. So based on that, this is what the equation should look like. So now based on this rough sketch that we have, this is our -1, 1. This is our 1/3 and -5/27. So we can see that at point 1/3, -5/27, it's minimum because the graph is a happy face. If it's upside down, this is max. So this is max, this is min. So this is a minimum point. -1, 1 is our maximum point because at that point, the graph is reaching a maximum value is +1. Whereas over here, the graph is reaching a minimum value of -5/27, and then it's increasing after that. So this is how you determine whether your point is a minimum or a maximum point. And then part C is the equation x³ + x² - x = k has fewer than 3 solutions. Find the range of possible values for k. If it has fewer than 3 solutions we're getting either over here, like, in these areas, or over here. This is where we have 3 solutions. So fewer than 3 solutions is above the turning point or at the turning point on both the maximum and minimum point. So the range of values for k are going to be, k can either be greater than 1 or k can be less than -5/27. So k is greater than 1 or k is less than -5/27. These are our possible range of values for k. Remember that between those maximum minimum points, we could have 3 values for y. But when we reach the maximum minimum value points, we only get 2 values. And above that, it's even less than 2, it's 1. So k can either be greater than 1 or k can be less than -5/27. Question 23 says simplify x²/4 to the power of 3/2. So we're going to distribute the power on the numerator and denominator. So whenever there's a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket, you multiply them. That means it's going to be x to the power of 2 times 3/2. And over here, it's going to be 4 to the power of 3/2. Now 4 is the same as 2 square. So let's rewrite 4 as 2 square. So it's 2 times 3/2 now. And over here, 2 times 3/2 is 3. So x cube, the 2 is cancelled over here as well. So x cube over 2 cube, which is x cube over 8. So this is our simplified answer. Then part B says 16 to the power of x times 1/2 to the power of x equals to 4 to the power of x plus 3. So let's rewrite 16 as the base of 2. 2 to the power of 4 is basically the same as 16. So 16 becomes 2 to the power of 4 whole power x times. We can bring the 2 in the numerator. So that makes us 2 to the power of -1 whole power x equals to 4 to the power of x plus 3. Now we can rewrite this 4 as 2 square. So let's change this to 2 square. So that's 2 to the power of 4x times 2 to the power of -x equals to 2 to the power of 2x plus 6. Whenever we have similar bases being multiplied, we add the powers. So combine the similar base over here and add the powers. So that's 2 to the power of 3x equals to 2 to the power of 2x plus 6. Since the bases are same on both sides, we can put the powers equal to each other. So 3x equals to 2x plus 6, 3x minus 2x equals to 6, and x equals to 6. That is your answer. So for this, you need to be very familiar with the rules of indices. What happens when you're multiplying similar bases? What happens with the powers? What happens when there's a power outside the bracket and inside the bracket? How can we change the basis to a number where every term has the same base and where we can then further simplify the equation to find the value of the unknown?